Well, the great achievement we're going to talk about today is that I'm still around. Cheers. Alright everybody, welcome back to the weekly Navel-Gazing, where I sit down and talk about why I didn't do all the things I promised, which is usually what happens. And today we're going to do the same thing. We'll talk about the books I read, we'll talk about the videos I didn't make, and then we'll talk about, other stuff. But this is a special version of the weekly Navel-Gazing because this is exactly the 1-year anniversary. I double-checked and apparently I posted the first one on the 22nd of May 2022. So yeah, I guess happy birthday to me, or something of the sorts, or at least to this series, and the fact that I'm still doing it, is what we'll come back to in a bit. But let's, do the things first and talk about books I read and stuff. It has been a somewhat short reading week because of public holidays and stuff I did on in my holidays. But I did finish, obviously, I already finished Spear by Nicola Griffith last week. I did finish my 4th reread of By Force Alone by Lavie Tidhar. So I'm all caught up with the Arthurian stuff for now. I did then start a reread of Central Station by Lavie Tidhar because, and well, I'm already enjoying it again because it's a fantastic book and you definitely should go and read it when you have nothing else to do, or even if you have like other books on your TBR, go put this one on there as well. And so yeah, I'm enjoying that. And I did reread Monsters Regiment by Terry Pratchett for our ongoing Discworld read-along thing. So yeah, I enjoyed that, and we had a conversation about it yesterday. It was great, as always. It's a good book, actually. Y'all should go and check it out. I think that's most of the reading. I'm back to reading Adorno stuff for, for Raisins, and I do need to pick up some sort of book after I'll be done with Central Station. Now, Central Station is not exactly a long book, so probably in the middle of the week I'll find some kind of book that I'll try to read. I do get a new Audible credit on Friday, so possibly on Friday I can actually buy a new book if I'm interested in one. Otherwise, I'll just dig through my library and see what's there that I either haven't read in years or maybe overlooked back when I bought the book or whatever. There are a few unread books in there somewhere, but my Audible library has somewhere over 500 books in it, so finding them might be difficult. And yes, I'm aware that there's some sort of like unread or read or whatever button that I can use to search, but I've not been very happy with the results of searching my Audible library. Somehow their algorithm sucks. Anyway, so that's the reading part. I'll be open for suggestions. Obviously, I'll most likely ignore them, but if you have something I should definitely go and read, let me know. I feel like there's, new books coming out that might be interesting. I'm still thinking about that pirate book. I'm not sure if I'm like the target audience, but I'm still thinking about maybe reading the whatever it's called, the new Chakraborty novel, The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi. Is that her name? I think so. You see how well prepared I am for this. Anyway, that might be something that I could go and read. Or, well, Werner Vinci has been on that list for a long time, so maybe a Fire Upon the Deep. I'm always in favor of fires wherever, so maybe that. Which is the reading part. So let's talk about the videos. There were none. Yes, I did work more on the King Arthur video. But it's a long video, and what with me going hiking on Thursday and camping out with friends and, spending time away from my computer, or even away from my room, for once, yeah. The actual time to get video bits recorded was less than I, originally planned for. Also, you may still hear my voice is a bit cracked. I don't know why, but yeah, it does not help with recording videos there either. I did record more parts of the Arthurian video though, so I'm almost positive it'll be done by Sunday. Almost positive. We will see. So there's that. Beyond it, I will definitely try to do at least 1 or 2 more Discworld videos to get back caught up to where we are with the read-along, which will be, well, I guess, a hatful of sky in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. We'll see. So the second of the Tiffany Aching novels. So I'll try to actually get the other recorded before then, so we'll be back to normal. And what with me not doing any record videos or very few videos except these weekly navel-gazings, yeah, maybe doing a few just individual book talks, discussions might just be the way to get me back into some sort of groove where I do things, like actually actively do things. So maybe that'll happen. We will see. So that's the video plans. There may or may not be another monthly Marxist thing on, well, Saturday, which will be the 27th. I'm not quite sure if I have time or not. I'll figure that one out in the next couple of days and let y'all know in, some sort of update kind of thing on the community tab. And that's all the things that happened last week. Sort of. All right, so let's figure out what else did I say. Yes, 1 year of weekly navel-gazings, and yeah, I'm kind of proud that I managed to do those. I'm very happy that some of you actually continue to watch these. What started out as me mostly talking, like in my brain, mostly talking about, like, the process of making videos, the thoughts that go into making videos sometimes, to give you like a bit more of like a behind the scenes, so to speak, of like, how do I approach making videos on YouTube kind of thing, has turned way more into me bitching about like my mental health than I'm most of the time comfortable with. Not in the way that I feel like, I should probably not tell you some things. It's more like that I always worry that me talking so much about like my personal situation comes across as, I don't know, asking for sympathy or begging for some, nice comments or whatever, in a way that makes me uncomfortable, because I don't want it to be seen as that. Yeah, I'm obviously very happy if someone gives me sympathy, sometimes at least, but that's not the goal. It's just like me trying to figure shit out because, for reasons that are partly due to the healthcare system and the general lack of therapists or availability of, therapy places and whatnot, partly also because of me being very slow with actually doing things. Yeah. The best thing I can do at the moment is work through my, my self-reflection stuff in some way or other, and up to a point, these weekly navel-gazings have slowly slid into that role, which sometimes I'm a bit uncomfortable with, and I worry that y'all get like super, bored with it or annoyed, because listening to someone else whinge can be painful, I feel, or at least boring or annoying, because we all have our problems. So why should we listen to someone else's problems if they then end up with, like, no solutions to their problems, which is certainly where I've been for the last year. And it has been a rough year in that regard. And there have been less videos that I made last year, of the whole year, and all of these things. So sometimes I even worry about, like, whether it's worth doing these, like, weekly navel-gazing things where I'm like, yeah, but I still haven't made, like, a new video, so what am I actually going to talk about here? What can I actually offer as entertainment value or whatever in a way that makes it worth for you to actually click on this link instead of, something more fun and more interesting? And that's certainly something I struggle with a lot over all the time, and we'll see if I find a way out of it by maybe becoming more productive again. It's certainly something where I feel there is potential at the moment for me to becoming more of an active person again, getting at least parts of my life back under control. Not the financial stuff, that's still very much fucked, but maybe even there is some hope for the near-ish future for me to, sort some of these things out. Maybe, we will see. For now, I'll just be selling my body for science, and getting some money for donating bone marrow for a study or something that I'll do this week, which will hopefully give me enough money to, have food for the next couple of days, which I've heard that is somewhat necessary. We'll see how it goes. So there are all of these things that I just wanted to drop in here. And just, once again, I really, really appreciate all of you who actually switch into these weird weekly navel-gazings, come up and give me, mention something in the comments. I do really, really appreciate it, because at least in my darker moments, I don't see that much value in these videos, or would not put that much value in. But that's once again partly me struggling with coming to terms that I can actually offer value on YouTube, which is something that I'm still sometimes amazed at. And I'm obviously trying harder now again, trying very hard to get there again, which is probably partly why I'm struggling so much with that Arthur video and with the other one, the culture industry video. And that's at the heart of so much that, like, kind of I feel is part of my issues, especially with like the more academic side of my life, where when I started getting really good at stuff at university, like got really high grades on term papers and stuff like that, suddenly there's that expectation, at least for me, to actually keep that standard up. So suddenly it's no longer me just, handing something in and hoping for the best. It's more like, well, if the last one was really good, then the next one should be really good as well. You kind of raise the stakes, or at least I tend to raise the stakes on when it comes to like expectations on my work, so to speak, in a lot of ways. And I did that to a point where I ended up doing a lot of research and never actually putting anything, to paper, or in this case to video, which is where I'm somewhat worried that the Arthurian video has become this thing where I always tell you about, like, and I'm doing this and this and this, and then, yeah, I've done the research. I need to actually sit down and get the whole thing turned into something watchable. And yes, I have started, but I also need to redo bits because I'm not happy with them. And, well, I guess I still, the challenge will be to find that point where I'm like, yeah, the diminishing returns of adding more research and adding more re-recordings is something, I mean, it's certainly something that we all struggle with, especially when we do more, like, I don't want to call this creative work, but, do stuff on our own where we tend to be the arbiter of, or the people who decide when to put something out. If we have to judge the quality of our own work, there is that danger of falling into that trap of trying to do just a little more and just a little more, and probably no one will ever notice. Probably we wouldn't even notice if we reread it like in 10 years' time or whatever. And that's certainly something that I'm still very much struggling with. So I'll really try hard to get the whole fucking Arthur thing done this week, so it's up on Sunday and y'all can actually watch it, and I hope it'll be below 2 hours, but I'm not quite sure. I need to figure out how much of, medieval literary history I should actually pack into it, because, yeah, turns out if I need 40 minutes to cover 60 years of Arthurian literary history, we have as a problem if we're talking about roughly a millennium, like 1,000 years of Arthurian literary production, right? That might be too long, I guess. So I need to come to a place where I can, tell that story, so to speak, as a story, because at the end of the day, this here is me telling stories, right? Like, even when I, do criticism or whatever you want to call it, or discussions of books, there is still that idea of having some sort of a through line that, well, if not like a story in the fictional sense, does still have some sort of arc, some sort of plot, some sort of, through line, so to speak, that gets closer and closer to telling a story, because we all love stories, and maybe if the story is interesting, then the other details also will remain in our brains, and that's the goal of teaching, isn't it? Not that I'm a teacher, you know what I mean? So there's that. And that's sort of my thoughts on the whole Arthurian video thing. I feel I've done the research. There's very little I can add now that will definitely, add a lot of more value to like the whole video when it comes to research. I mean, I could probably read a few more essays and a few more monographs and a few more, collections of essays and whatnot on Arthurian literature, because I still know shit about it, but if I then have to boil the whole thing down into that, 2-hour video again, how much of my additional reading will actually make it into that finished video? And yeah, that's certainly something I've been thinking about a lot. So I'm thinking about thinking, so to speak. Yeah. So that's where I am. I'm trying to recover my voice and finish recording the Arthurian video and reading some good books on the side. I hope you're doing the same, at least when it comes to the reading part. I mean, if you're producing videos, then please have fun with that as well. But that's sort of where we are right now. And yeah, once again, I hope you had a good week. I certainly did have fun going on an extended hike with friends and camping, and it was fun. So there's that. So I hope you had fun and read some good books, and do read some good books this week. Thanks for actually sticking with me for the last year. I appreciate it. And I'll hopefully see you very soon in an actual video about an actual subject that is not just me trying to figure out who I am, because that might just be more interesting in the long run. Videos with actual topics and stuff, right? Anyway, once again, thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, whatever you do. If you do it, I do appreciate it. And if you don't, then I guess I'll have to live with that too. So have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.